Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video I want to chime in on the topic about flying in BFA, primarily from Warmode perspective, the PvP perspective of the expansion for World of Warcraft. Flying has always been a point of contention for a lot of players. If you're somebody like me who spends maybe a little bit too much time on the forums, listen to the community, some people that believe that maybe it's not a good idea to ground us off the bat. Maybe we shouldn't have a Pathfinder achievement. As soon as we reach max level, just pay our gold so we can use our flying mounts everywhere else. Why do we have so many flying mounts if we can't fly them? But when that happens, the world starts to feel a little bit empty, and if you ever flew through some of the BC areas, or Wrath of Lich King areas, Cataclysm areas, you've leveled in those places a lot. You already know them like the back of your hand. There's usually nothing new that you can find in those zones if you've leveled as much as I have. But with Legion, they put so many nooks and crannies, so many pretty sites, treasures hidden from plain eyes view, there's rares all over the place, there's so much reason to just go exploring things, as well as flight paths are fairly convenient if you want to go get world quest done on one end of the map, then all the way to the other side of the map, all the way to Madagascar. There's usually a flight path that connects you both, and they're fairly convenient. Also with the whistle system, you're able to teleport to a flight path fairly quickly. It's a little bit of a downtime just watching the mount kind of go from one point to the other, but overall I don't think it was very intrusive. I thought it was very well done in Legion, and they're continuing that in BFA. Now in BFA though, there is a catch. They're adding Warmode. They're trying to bring World PvP back into the game. And the one thing that I didn't like about World PvP at any point is whenever they added mounts, especially flying mounts, because as soon as you engage in PvP, you can just fly away. In most cases, people are just going to go into war mode with all the extra rewards. There's a chance that people will just activate war mode, go on their flying mounts, fly around all over the place, just find the world quest they want, make sure no one's there, fly in, kill as many enemies as possible, fly out right before they hit danger. It takes a little bit of that randomness, a little bit of that organic nature when it comes to world engagement of Horde versus Alliance. First of all, I just want to point out that this is war mode. You are choosing to turn on war mode, and this is important. You are signing away, basically, your sanity, your character's health, the death count is gonna probably go up once you turn on war mode. You are choosing to put a target on your back, but you also get honor talents to work with. Honor talents for trinkets, honor talents for defensive or offensive nature, whichever way you want to play, as well as extra rewards from the world interaction through world quests, maybe even rares, reputation, you name it. So I hope you're starting to see what we have here. If you have mounts, flying mounts, that give you the capability to go anywhere you want to escape danger as soon as you want to, how is that going to work when you turn on war mode? Blizzard did state that they do want to add an item, and they do have an item where you can just throw, I guess, what used to be a turtle shell back in Mists of Pandaria and Warlord's General to dismount enemies from their mount. But I want to be a little bit more radical here. I don't think we should have flying mounts. When I say we shouldn't have flying mounts, I mostly mean in war mode. Once you activate war mode, what is the point of flying mounts? Yes, we eventually want to unlock flying mounts to make it convenient, but why are you turning on war mode? And I think that's what we should really identify here. Does Blizzard understand why people turn on war mode? Are we turning on war mode just so we can get extra stuff, extra rewards? Or are we turning on war mode just so we can play around with more abilities like the honor talents, even though we can't really use them in raids or dungeons or majority of the aspects of the game past PvP? Why are we turning on war mode? Or is it because we want to engage in PvP? And that's what I really want to just ask here. What is the point of war mode? I was under the impression it is for everybody who wants to engage in PvP. It is for anybody who wants to make the game a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more scary, a little bit more risk-reward to it, a different type of gameplay. Some people just want to go and get on a PvE server and they want to go do the world quest without the worry of being ganked. That is a playstyle. You're just interacting with the world. You don't need to interact with other players whatsoever. You don't need to call for backup. You don't need to ask for guildies to come, and then the enemy guildies will get their guildies, and then now you have this faction war. Some people don't want to do none of that. They're just fine playing solo. But then there's a good chunk of people that want world PvP. They don't really want to get some organized PvP, like, okay, let's get 50 people on one side, 50 people on the other, and make this kind of inorganic world PvP situation. No, they just want to go out in the world, and whatever happens, happens. It's unpredictable. It's exciting. You are getting more rewards, but now anyone can attack you at any moment. You never know who's going to be around the corner. Now, if you add mounts to that type of system, you are taking away a little bit of that risk. Let's say you are a night elf. Druid, Night Elf, anything really, who can just shadow meld, mount up, and fly. Like a Night Elf Druid, just shadow meld, flight form up in the air. Now you're safe, no one can touch you. Because what are they gonna do? Are they gonna just fly up all the way to your height, dismount, throw that dismount item at you, and then just fall to their deaths? No. You're gonna be able to go up to the flight path and you're just gonna fly up and stay in the air until they either get bored of you or both of you fall asleep. But maybe I was just under the impression, and a wrong impression of what Warmode was supposed to be. So let me clarify what I thought Warmode was gonna be about. I thought Warmode was a different way to play the game. World of Warcraft. You're still playing your class, you're still using your basic ability combos, you're still questing, you're doing your world quests, you might even run into a rare, but the way that you play and the interactions you have with other players, that is what's different. Besides Horde and Alliance being able to beat the shit out of each other, maybe you're getting attacked by a couple of Hordes. So you call on the server, hey, anybody here doing the same world quest? Now you can get together and group up, so now you have strength in numbers, maybe leveling with a friend, maybe leveling with another guy, maybe doing world quests and group quests with this other person might be a better idea, because you are choosing to play with a game where you're supposed to interact with it a little bit different. It's scary, it's a little bit out there, it can go haywire any moment, but there's such a reward out of it. So I feel like it's a system to encourage player interaction, players hanging out together, players playing together, helping each other out, and to me it felt like that's what Warmode was supposed to be about. It is also supposed to be, at least I thought it was, a haven for anybody who wants to PvP. You like the dangerous gameplay, you want to have world PvP, you want world PvP to be back in the game, so you turn it on to do quests where there's a low level character, max level character, you want to add that player interaction, and unless you go to a server that's PvP, you can't really force it. I'm pretty passionate about Warmode and I want it to be great, and I have a suspicion that if you add flying to Warmode, it'll take a lot of the charm away from it. The whole idea is to engage with other players and put everybody on the ground, and in the past expansions, flying has killed world PvP. I want world PvP to come back, and if flying is something that needs to take a backseat when you're out in world war mode, then I think it's a good idea. Maybe you can have flying outside of war mode, right? Once people unlock Pathfinder, and if you don't want to engage with other players, it doesn't matter whether you're on the ground or in the sky. Once you have Pathfinder and you're not in war mode, sure, you can go fly and get your world quest done and everything. But for PvP, however, the whole idea of flying would take away a lot of the player interaction. Those same roads and those same towns that you quested in, you no longer will be finding people on the roads, by the shore, or any of that. You'll simply be finding people over where world quests are, as everybody will be flying from world quest to world quest, making a beeline right to them. So I feel like the world is going to start feeling a lot less lively. So let's say you're leveling at the level 110 and you just have, maybe you memorize all the areas where world quests are. Now you can level in your zone and for the most part avoid majority of the max level players that might be in your zone with a war mode on trying to get world quests done. I don't want that. I want a little bit of the spontaneity of it. And I feel like it just takes away from the liveliness of the world. I would even go as far as say remove flying from all aspects of war mode, whether you're in vanilla zones, whether you're in BC, whether you are in Wrath. With the scaling technology and how people can engage each other with PvP, it feels like Blizzard is taking steps forward to allow classes that are level, let's say 110, to actually have a competitive edge, or at least a competitive situation, where they can try and maybe even succeed against a max level character in a PvP environment. I think it's awesome, and they could maybe extend it towards, let's say, vanilla zones, level 20s versus level 40s, BC and Wrath zones, anywhere between level 60 to 80, actually be able to engage each other in PvP. And if you were to ground players, I feel like it would also add a little bit extra of that world quest experience from previous expansions. And the only reason I even say this is because if you don't like the world PvP, if you don't like PvP experiences and PvP engagement, you can always just turn it off. I feel like that's what a lot of people forget. If you don't want any of this, you can turn off war mode. You can choose that, yes, you want to play a safer version of World of Warcraft where you don't have to deal with other players, where you don't have to deal with getting some backup, where you don't have to deal with, extra rewards, but the game is more straightforward. You don't have any of that risk. I feel that risk makes it exciting. Adding flying will take away from that risk to a good extent, and I don't think it'll be good for the game in the long run. And I feel like if they were to extend this risk-reward system out into other aspects of the game, what if level 80 world PvP, level 60 world PvP, low-level world PvP were to come back? Blizzard is releasing all these allied races anyway. You're gonna have Mako Orcs, you're gonna have Dark Iron Dwarves, and you know that people are gonna want to get that heritage armor. So there'll be people coming back to World of Warcraft, maybe to re-level their characters. So it's not like there will be a lack of players. On top of it, when you enable war mode, the game shards you to a server a separate server with other players to turn it on. So it's not like you'll have to be on your server and hopefully enough people are playing war mode. It'll shard you to a separate server with other players that want a war mode. So it'll be a lot easier for you guys to find each other. And it's not like they're going to stop releasing all these allied races. They're going to give you more reason to level these allied races. So people are going to continue leveling. So you have a system that will place people together. That will get people on the same server, people that want a world PvP. It'll be a lot easier for you guys to find each other. There's a reason for people to re-level characters with allied races coming out and all these class changes coming out. And with heritage armors being available, there's just going to be more fodder. You're going to have people there. You're going to have bodies to engage with. And I feel like it'll be exciting. But in the end, I'm not the one choosing the flying and how Blizzard will approach it. It is Blizzard themselves, and they'll decide how they want to go about it. But I do think it'll be cool. Plus, it feels a little bit silly to, if you will say, want to engage with somebody who's flying nearby, to dismount them, then they fall, and then gravity deals a good chunk of their health. Well, I just kind of want to engage them from the start. I don't want to have them just fall down to have death and then just be able to finish them off at the end. I don't want to have to feel silly just having to mount up after them and then chasing them and then dismounting midair, trying to dismount them and hoping that I land in water. I don't want none of these things to happen. I feel like we could avoid all that silliness and just keep the game good, wholesome, PvP, world PvP fun. I feel like that would be a better direction for World of Warcraft, but that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinions, guys, down below. I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know all your stuff, comments, all that. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys like seeing stuff like this, where we just do discussions or any BFA stuff, please go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you're gonna hit subscribe, you might as well hit the notification bell so you guys can be notified for every single video that goes live and every stream that goes live. Mostly because YouTube just doesn't like to notify people that a video is up or a stream is up. If you just subscribe, so hitting the notification bell will guarantee that you'll always be updated as soon as we go live. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see all of you in the next one.